Hello and welcome back to Online Yoga and Wellness. I'm Kate Astle. Today you'll be joining me for a 45-minute yoga sequence, and it's going to be a Hatha yoga sequence. Following on from our last session of mindfulness and the foundation of our asanas, today we're going to be looking at dropping the mind down into the body. So really starting to notice and become aware of how the body's feeling, the tension that we're holding, and just the way that that's expressed in the physical body. So as we did previously, we're going to be starting and finishing today's sequence with some mindfulness. And to do that, we are going to be sitting with our legs crossed on the mat, lifting up through the chest, once again visualizing the piece of string from the base of the spine all the way through to the crown of the head. Now today we're going to be practicing with our shoes and socks off, and we are going to listen to our body and its limitations. So if at any point you are feeling any discomfort, relieve yourself from the pose and join us when you feel like you're able to again. So listening to what your body is capable of. So sitting up nice and tall, you can gently close the eyes, roll the shoulders up to the ears and down the back, taking in 3 deep breaths down into the belly. Long, slow breaths. Starting to notice what you can hear, projecting your hearing, listening to the furthermost sounds. And then slowly drawing your awareness of what you can hear back to within the 4 walls. Noticing what you can smell, what you can taste, any light or shadows across the eyes. And then tapping into what you can feel, focusing on the physical body, noticing its points of contact on the mat, noticing how your clothing feels against your skin, noticing the temperature of the air that surrounds you. And then drawing your awareness inward, starting to notice the muscles and the connective tissues. Noticing every cell within the body. Using your mind, we are going to scan the body, starting with the crown of the head. Noticing if you can feel your hair, if it's tied back or resting on your face. Scanning to the forehead, allowing it to soften. Observing the jaw, ensuring your teeth aren't clenched. Slightly tucking your chin, lengthening through the back of the neck, traveling your awareness to your shoulders. Observing if you're holding any tension in the shoulders today, if they're feeling tight. When we start to feel tight or anxious, the shoulders are one of the spaces that tends to contract. Observing the chest, broadening through the collarbones, allowing the shoulder blades to rest down the back, opening through the heart space. When we're in fight or flight, we can hunch forward, protecting the heart space and the chest. If we're lacking confidence, we can also hunch forward. So in these moments, taking a few deep breaths, opening through the chest, breathing into the lungs and allowing the collarbones to broaden. Observing the breath as it enters the lungs, feeling the chest expand and contract. Observing the rhythm of the breath. Scanning down the arms to the elbows, wrists, hands and fingers. Allowing the arms to soften, feeling the weight of the arms as they rest from the shoulders. Traveling down the spine to the hips. Noticing if you're holding any tension here or if it's difficult to sit with the legs crossed. The hips are one of the areas where we can hold on to emotions or hold on to trauma. Scanning down the legs, the thighs, hamstrings to the knees, ankles, feet and toes. Observing any tension, any sensations. And then drawing your awareness back to the body in full. Allowing the mind to center and focus on the body. And throughout today's practice, this is what we're going to be mindful of. Feeling the body throughout the asanas, feeling the body as we move. So as we start today, we are going to go over the foundational poses that we started with last week. So if you could please roll onto your knees and hands into tabletop. In tabletop, we need to make sure that the knees are underneath the hips and that the wrists are underneath the shoulders. Shoulder blades down the back, keeping a long neutral spine, gazing down between the hands. Making sure that the knees are hip width apart and the hands are shoulder width apart, spreading the fingertips, feeling the mat beneath the hands, pressing the tops of the feet down onto the mat. Taking in a breath here. From here, we're going to start to move through cat-cow, moving the body with the breath. To start, breathing in, we're going to drop the belly down to the mat, lifting up through the crown of the head, arching through the back. As we exhale, we're going to draw the belly button to the spine, dropping the crown of the head down to the mat and tucking the tailbone. Breathing in, dropping the belly. Breathing out, drawing the belly button to the spine. Using the movement to expand through the chest and the belly, allowing the oxygen to enter the body. And then contracting, drawing the belly button to the spine, using the body to push the air out. Starting to follow your own breath, observing the rhythm, lengthening the breath. And as you do, becoming aware of the shoulders, the hips, and the spine. starting to move forward and back, distributing the weight from the knees to the hands. And you can gently move side to side, starting to explore the spine, its range of motion, and any sensations or tension that you might be holding through the shoulders, through the hips. 2 more breaths here. And then coming back to a neutral spine, finding tabletop. From here, we're going to take the right hand, reaching it up towards the ceiling, lengthening the fingertips. We're going to thread the right fingertips underneath the left arm, dropping the right shoulder down to the mat. Pressing into the left palm to deepen the twist. Pressing into the left hand, inhaling the fingertips back up to the ceiling. And then threading the right hand underneath the left arm, placing the right shoulder on the mat. One more time, inhaling the right fingertips up to the ceiling. Threading underneath the left arm, dropping the shoulder down to the mat. Resting here. This movement is called threading the needle. Noticing the body in this pose. Pressing into the left palm, inhaling the fingertips back up to the ceiling, and then placing the right hand back down on the mat. Checking your posture, taking a breath, finding tabletop with a neutral spine, and then extending the left fingertips up to the ceiling, looking towards the left thumb, and then threading the left hand underneath the right arm, dropping the left shoulder down to the mat. Pressing into the right palm, inhaling the left fingertips up to the ceiling, and then threading underneath the right arm, dropping the shoulder down to the mat. Pressing into the right hand to deepen the twist. And one more time, inhaling the left fingertips up to the ceiling. And exhale, threading underneath the right arm, dropping the shoulder. Noticing this pose, noticing the body. Pressing into the right palm, inhaling the left fingertips up to the ceiling, and then back down to the mat. Finding tabletop, making sure that the hands and the knees are hip and shoulder width apart. We are going to now tuck the toes, lift the hips up to the ceiling into downward dog. Bending through the knees, straightening through the legs, sinking down into the heels. If the hamstrings are tight, keeping the knees slightly bent, making sure to press the head between the arms. Stepping the right foot forward, stepping the left foot forward into a forward fold. Once again, if the hamstrings are tight, keeping the knees slightly bent, allowing the head to drop. Inhale, halfway lift, lifting up to a straight spine. Exhale, forward fold. Bending through the knees, inhaling the hands up to the ceiling, slightly back. This time placing the palms together above the head and lowering them down to the heart center. Releasing the hands here and finding mountain pose. With mountain pose, we stand on 2 feet with the feet hip width apart, rolling the shoulders down the back, tucking the tailbone, placing the hands down by your side, facing the body, lifting up through the chest as you breathe in, standing with confidence, standing with purpose. Noticing the body in this stance, noticing how it knows how to balance. If you like to in this pose, gently closing the eyes and start to feel the balance of the body. Feeling the body as it sways and as the body corrects itself, staying upright. Feeling each breath. Noticing if you can feel your heart beating in your chest. And then gently opening your eyes. Inhaling the hands up to the ceiling. Exhale, folding forward, placing the hands on the mat, bending through the knees if you need to. Stepping the right foot back, stepping the left foot back into plank, keeping the body nice and tight. Dropping the knees down to the mat, followed by the hips and the chest. Tucking the elbows in underneath the shoulders, pressing the hands down onto the mat, lifting up through the crown of the head into Sphinx. Taking a breath, feeling the body as it settles, feeling the back as it arches further. Releasing tension through the hips, you can gently move them side to side. Taking in a breath, we're going to press into the palms, straighten through the arms. And exhale, releasing back down, placing the elbows on the mat. Inhale, pressing into the palms. Exhale, releasing elbows to the mat. One more time, breathing in. And exhale, dropping the elbows down to the mat. Pressing into the palms, lift the elbows, drop the chest. Taking the hands underneath the shoulders. You're going to press into the palms, dropping the hips, lifting up into cobra. If your back is still tight, just keeping the arms bent slightly. And from here, sitting back into child's pose. So we're going to join the big toes together, walk the feet out to the left and right edges of the mat, drop the forehead, allow the arms to hang from the shoulders. Taking in a breath here, feeling the hips, feeling the shoulders, feeling the spine. And then inhaling back to tabletop. Walking the knees in, hip width apart. Tucking the toes, lift the hips up to the ceiling, sinking down into the heels, into downward dog. Stepping the left foot forward, stepping the right foot forward into a forward fold, allowing the upper body to hang here. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Bending through the knees, inhaling the hands up and over the head. Placing the palms together and lowering them down to the heart center. Releasing the hands, finding mountain pose once again. Tucking the tailbone, rolling the shoulder blades down the back, feet hip width apart. Taking up your space, arms down by your sides, facing the body. Standing with confidence, knowing that your body is capable. Gently closing the eyes, feeling the balance. feeling the body sway and correct. And then gently opening your eyes, inhaling your hands up to the ceiling and exhale, folding forward. Placing the hands on the mat, stepping back the left foot, stepping back the right foot into plank. Dropping the knees, the hips, the chest, keeping the hips dropped to the mat, pressing into the palms, straightening through the arms into cobra. Taking a breath, allowing the back to bend, decompressing the spine. And then bending through the knees and hips, sitting back onto the heels into child's pose. Gently moving the body from left to right, allowing the upper body to settle between the legs. Starting to check back in with the rhythm of your breath. Just observing if your mind started to wander off with thoughts, checking back in with your senses, scanning the body for what you can feel, checking in with every sensation, checking in with any tension. And then inhaling back to tabletop, bringing the knees in hip width apart. Tucking the toes, lift the hips up to the ceiling into downward dog, sinking down into the heels. Stepping the right foot forward, left foot forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Bending through the knees, inhaling the hands up and over the head. Placing the palms together and lowering down to the heart center. Once again, finding mountain pose. Finding your balance, standing on 2 feet. Feeling confident. Starting to observe the body. Just repeating to yourself once, I am enough. From here, we're going to find our balance on our left foot, shifting our weight. We're going to take the right foot and place it at the ankle, the calf, or the inner thigh. If you need to here, taking your hands out to find your balance. You can also use a wall or a chair to hold on to. Once you find your balance here, start to notice what it feels like to stand on one leg. Noticing the body as it auto-corrects here. Noticing if it's more difficult. If you need to, keeping your hands out nice and wide to find your balance. Otherwise, you can bend through the elbows, bringing the arms up into cactus and draw the shoulder blades together. From here, you can take the hands in front, or you can raise them up above the head into tree. Gently releasing the arms, placing the foot back down onto the mat. Gently shaking through the legs. And then coming to the top of the mat. Inhaling the hands up to the ceiling. Exhale, folding forward. Stepping the right foot back, left foot back into plank. Dropping the knees down to the mat, followed by the hips and chest. Pressing into the arms, up into cobra. From here, we're going to tuck the toes, lift the hips up to the ceiling into downward dog. Sinking down into the heels, stepping the left foot forward, stepping the right foot forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Bending through the knees, sweeping the hands up to the ceiling, palms together, and lowering them down to the heart center. Releasing the hands, finding mountain pose. Finding your balance on 2 feet. Feeling confident. Once again, closing your eyes. Repeating to yourself, I am enough. Opening your eyes, shifting your weight onto your right leg, onto your right foot. Placing the left foot at the ankle, the calf, or the inner thigh. So making sure that we don't press the foot against the knee, putting pressure on the joint. Taking the hands out wide, finding your balance. If you need to, using the wall, using a chair. From here, we can bend through the elbows, lifting the arms up into cactus. Placing the hands together at the heart center. And then raising the hands up and over the head. Feeling the right foot root into the ground like a tree. Allowing it to be your foundation. Your connection to the earth. Releasing your hands. Placing the left foot back onto the mat. Taking a moment here to find your balance back on 2 feet. And scanning the body again, observing any sensations. Observing what your body is capable of. Inhaling the hands up and over the head. Exhale, folding forward. Stepping the left foot back, right foot back into plank. Dropping the knees, the hips, the chest. Pressing into the palms, lifting up into cobra. And then sitting back into child's pose. Taking the knees out nice and wide. Dropping the forehead down to the mat, allowing the arms to hang from the shoulders. Feeling the body as it folds. Taking in a breath. If you're holding any judgment of yourself, allowing it to release here. Repeating to yourself, I am enough. Inhaling back to tabletop, drawing the knees in hip width apart. Stepping the right foot to the outside of the right hand. Pressing the hips forward here, making sure that the right knee doesn't go over the right toes. From here, we're going to walk the right foot across to the left side of the mat, and we're going to drop the right knee. We're going to walk the left leg away, placing the hands on the mat, lifting up through the chest into pigeon. From here, we're going to walk the hands out in front, collapsing the body over the hip, walking the arms out as far as we can, dropping the chest down towards the mat. Taking a breath here in sleeping swan. If you can't go all the way down, you can stay up on the elbows. Once again, shoulder blades down the back, neutral spine. Taking in a few breaths as the hip drops, releasing tension. Feeling the stretch through the body. Taking in one more breath. And then slowly walking back up onto the hands, lifting up through the chest. We're going to sit back onto the right side, onto the right hip, and we're going to take the left leg up and over the right knee. Lifting up through the chest here. We're going to take the hands out nice and wide, and we're going to twist to the left, taking the right hand around the left knee, the left hand behind the body, twisting and looking behind. Feeling the twist through the spine, feeling the restriction in breath. And then unwrapping the body, unwrapping the legs, and coming back over into tabletop. Checking your positioning, and then stepping the left foot to the outside of the left hand. Pressing the hips forward, making sure that the knee doesn't go over the toes. Walking the left foot across to the right side of the mat. Dropping the left knee. If you need to, walking the right leg away. Hands on the mat, lifting up through the chest into pigeon. From here, walking the hands out in front, dropping down to the elbows. If you can, walking the hands out further, dropping the chest down to the mat. Allowing the upper body to collapse over the hip, only going as far as your body will let you. Listening to your body. Noticing what you can feel. Becoming aware of your limitations. Becoming aware of what you're capable of. Flexibility and adaptability can be transitioned from yoga into life. Being able to adapt to changes. Being flexible so that we don't break. Taking in one more breath here. And slowly walking the hands back towards the legs. Lifting up through the chest. Dropping back onto the left hip. Taking the right foot up and over the left knee. Drawing the feet in nice and close to the body. Lifting up through the chest. Taking a breath. Inhaling the hands out wide. Twisting to the right, taking the left hand around the right knee, the right hand behind the body as you look behind. Twisting through the spine. And then inhaling back to center, unwrapping the legs out in front, gently bending through the ankles and the knees, walking the legs out straight. Drawing the toes back towards you, lifting up through the chest. Inhaling the hands up to the ceiling and exhale, folding forward. Reaching for the toes. If you can't reach the toes, reaching for the shins, lifting up through the chest, folding from the hips. With each out breath, walking the fingertips closer to the ankles. Dropping the chin to the chest. With each out breath, folding a little deeper. And then inhaling the hands back up to the ceiling and down by your sides. Folding the legs in front. Coming to a comfortable position on the mat. Resting the hands on your knees. Taking in 3 deep breaths. Starting to notice if you're feeling any weight on the shoulders. Observing the weight of the body. If there's anything that you're holding on to, allowing it to release on the out breath. Sitting up nice and tall, gently closing the eyes. Starting to feel any weight that you're holding in the body. If anywhere feels heavy, if there's anything that you're holding on to, anything that might be held in the tension within the shoulders or the hips. Giving yourself permission to let go. Inhaling the shoulders up and dropping. One more time. Allowing any fear or anxiety, any feelings of overwhelm just to drop out of the body. Gently opening the eyes, bringing yourself back into your surroundings. Taking with you today some tools and some ways in which you can identify if you're holding any tension within the body. Identify how your body's physically feeling, and understanding that you are enough and that you are capable. Coming back to the tool of dropping the shoulders, allowing that to be a way in which you can take in a few deep breaths in any given moment and drop that anxiety or that fear, knowing that you are safe, knowing that you are supported. Like I said in the first class, the first step to self-discovery is self-awareness. And that first awareness can be of the physical body. So I hope you have taken something away from today's class, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for joining me on the mat today.